Hey everybody, Wes here. I'm just about to head off for Christmas vacation and I'm cleaning out my email and I'm seeing like a lot of emails from people saying like what's the stack that you're running on? What's the platform that you use to sell your courses, to give away your free ones? Like I'm interested in, and I always think it's interesting to see what the stack is behind all of that. So what I thought I'd do is sort of just run through this whole thing and what powers it all. So this is a custom built Node application that I've been cooking up for probably about 3.5 years now. So it's been a long time in the making, and it's starting to get pretty polished in terms of what works for me. It obviously is not something that would work for everybody. That's one of the reasons why I don't have it available to other people. But hey, maybe one day in the future I'll do something like that. So I've got like JavaScript 30, I've got ES6 IO, and I've got React for Beginners all running on the same stack right now, and I'm currently working at moving over all of the rest of my courses to this application as well. First of them is going to be my Sublime book, and then the rest of my free ones as well. So the way it works, and I'll just go over JavaScript 30 right here, is you put in your email. What that will do is it'll send off an email to you, and then you click that and you sign up for an account or you log into your existing account. And what's cool about this is that we share accounts across all of these. So if you've bought any of my courses before, you'll be able to log in and see it. So that's what you get here with your account dashboard. Once you've logged in, it's pretty simple right here. It just shows you a list of all the purchases. Obviously, I've been trying it out. I've got a bunch of Reacts here. And then once you log in, you can see your invoice. You can download your starter files if you have access to download some of the files. Some of the packages don't have access to download, just streaming. And then, of course, you can always stream for each of them. Go ahead and click through to stream on one of them. And what that's going to do is it's going to load up this video player here. It has the ability to control the speed. You can jump ahead a number of seconds. You can download the files. You can click on one of them. It's just a regular video player here. So, and then of course on the front end here is all the information about it. There's intro videos, and then the big one is you can go ahead and buy it either with a credit card or PayPal. So let's start from the beginning and talk about what that stack looks like. So it's 100% JavaScript. Everything runs on Node. I use Express, which is sort of like a framework for Node.js that will allow you to take in requests and do routing and all that good stuff. So Express is a pretty big one. It's sort of like Laravel for in the PHP world, or Rails. It's a little bit stripped back as everything is in JavaScript, and you do need to install a lot more stuff to go to carry on with that. I use Passport.js to manage the login. So there's a whole login system, and once you log in, you can access your stuff. That's done with Passport.js, which has a whole bunch of different ways that you can authenticate with like GitHub or whatever. I use MongoDB to store the data, so that's my database. I use Mongoose, which is a Node package to make queries and aggregations and all that good stuff. And then the actual database itself, because I feel very scared about hosting my own database, is I use a service called Mongodb, and it's essentially just a service that gives you a database, and they do all the backups and the replication and uptime and all that headache stuff that you don't want to deal with. They do all of that. And then since I've been building this for 3.5 years, most of it is built in something called the sync.js, which allows you to step things like someone can buy a product, then you check their credit card, then you do this and that and that, and you step through it. I use a sync for that. However, I'm slowly moving everything over to promises. And then I'm really looking forward to promises are obviously, hopefully you've taken the ES6 course, you know that's part of JavaScript. But once a sync and await comes to Node, I'm going to move a lot of it over to that as well. So that's really the back end that we have here. The servers, it runs on DigitalOcean. It's just a $5 a month box, although I'm just about hitting, when I launched JavaScript 30, it started to fall over. So I needed to move it up to a $10 or $20 a month box. I use SSLs.com for certificates. I know that you can use Let's Encrypt for free ones, but I pay $15 for 3 years at SSLs.com. And I don't have to worry about cron jobs or anything like that. Not worth it, or totally worth it for me. Nginx is the server that sits on top of it. So because I am on 3 different domains, I don't just serve up express right to the domain name, what I do is I run Nginx, which is a web server, and that'll sit on top of my express. And then whenever someone hits any of these domains, it first is going to do all of the serving of the certificates. And second, it's going to proxy those requests, es6.io, React for Beginners, because these are all running on port 80, and my application runs on a different port. So it's going to proxy it through to whatever that is. And then at that point, my Express application picks up the request, figures out what the domain name is, and then we'll show the correct index.jade and show the correct prices and everything related to that specific course. On the server, I use something called Forever, which if you ever have Node, it's not like PHP where if something crashes, you can just refresh the page. If Node crashes, then you have to restart the application. So if what Forever will do is if something crashes for whatever reasons, I write terrible code or something like that, Forever is going to kick it back into place. On the payment side of things, I use Stripe for processing credit cards. Just the best experience ever working with Stripe. If you ever have to process credit cards, absolutely go with Stripe. It's just a really great overall developer experience in order to process credit cards. What's really cool about Stripe is that you just never touch the credit card number. The person inputs it on the page. How that sort of works. Let's explain this here. Whoa, what a big page. So when someone types in their credit card number right here, what that does is it goes off to Stripe. It doesn't go to my servers. It goes to Stripe, and Stripe comes back with what's called a token, and then I use that token on my server to actually charge it. So Stripe will sort of like make sure that you can charge the card and all that good stuff. And then on the server, I'm going to actually process that charge. And that's really nice because then I don't have to ever worry about having credit cards in my logs or on my server. Never touches it. It's only in the browser that goes straight to Stripe. Of course, PayPal for using PayPal. I get a lot of people telling me like, "Hey, you should use Stripe instead of PayPal." And of course, I use Stripe for credit cards, but PayPal is an absolute necessary evil in this industry. I didn't have PayPal for a long time, and I got a ton of email. When I implemented PayPal, I got tons and tons of new signups. My sales went up about 20%. So whereas Stripe is like the best thing in the world, PayPal is just the absolute worst thing in the world to work with. But it's a necessary evil, so we sort of have to work with it. And then also I use something called pushover, which if I have a sale, my phone will go cha-ching. And to do that, I use pushover, which when I make a sale, I just ping this API and then it will send a cha-ching to my phone and I can see that in there. I'll also have like reporting in my back end as well. If we go to my dashboard here, I've got this. If you're an affiliate, you can log in and go to the affiliates and you can see how much you've earned, see where people are coming from, see monthly breakdowns. And then I also have my own dashboard that sort of shows me sales and signups and numbers for that. On the front end side of things, I make all these sites myself, just HTML, CSS, some JavaScript that goes along with it. I write all of my CSS in something called Stylus, which most people have never heard of. I saw a graph the other day, and it was like 10% or 2% of all people have even heard of it. And what it is it's just like Sass or less. It's absolutely not better or worse. It's just a personal preference. And one of the features that you can do with Stylus is you don't need your semicolons or your colons or your brackets. You can put them in if you like, but I prefer to just do it based on indentation, and I'm a big fan of it. I've been trying out for JavaScript 30. I've been trying out like a BEM because I had this site is getting a bit big, and I'm starting to feel the pain of having a large CSS code base here. So for JavaScript 30, I completely rewrote it with BEM, which is block element modifier, and I'm really liking it. So I might move to that for my next one. We'll see what that's like. On the player side of things, so like all of this sign up, this one's just pure JavaScript. This one is built mostly in jQuery. And then on the back end here, this is React. So this whole player experience, I really wanted to have control over what this looks like. So the videos, first of all, the videos are hosted on Vimeo, which everyone says that's weird because I don't see Vimeo player. But if you were to inspect my player here, you'll see that the video source, let me see here, is player.vimeo.com. So the video source, if you sign up for Vimeo Pro, they will give you a streaming URL, which for 150 bucks a year, you get unlimited bandwidth, which is unheard of because I pay 150 bucks for people to stream, and then on the account dashboard, when people download the course, I host that on uh, Amazon. What's it called? S3 with something called CloudFront in front of it. So S3 is like where you put your files, and then you can choose like, or do you put them in Virginia or do you put them in Toronto? And what CloudFront will do is CloudFront sits in front of S3 and it will distribute it to everywhere. Because I initially just had it on S3 and people were from Germany and stuff were complaining that the downloads were just brutally slow. And I was like, oh, that's weird. It's because they were hosted in Virginia. So CloudFront will distribute it to all the servers and then just pick the closest one and allow them to download that. But I pay like hundreds of dollars a month for people to download these zip files right here, which is crazy expensive for me. Some months when I do a big launch, it's over $1,000 a month to download that, and then I pay almost nothing for you to stream them. So if you wouldn't mind streaming them, that would really help me out. Um, so the player is in React here. It's HTML5 video player. One of the reasons why I went with HTML5 video player is because it's totally accessible. I don't need to build any interface on top of it. And also one cool thing about it is that you can have captions go on it. So I have captions done for all my videos, and people who are ESL or people who are deaf are able to just turn those on. And I don't have to create a new interface for that. The whole thing down here, this is all done in React as well. And then the checking of when you're done a video, I listen for the HTML5 video player to progress in every 10 seconds or so. What I'll do is I'll save where you are in that video up to the database. It's attached to that person's profile. The other big part of this whole stack is email, because when you sign up, when you reset your passwords, it's called transactional email. And all of that stuff is done. It's actually a pretty complicated setup that I have. So I write my HTML in something called Jade. So if I were to look at index Jade, this is what Jade looks like. It's by the same guy that built Stylus. It looks the same. It's all based on indentation. You don't have any closing tags. You just indent it all. And I just really, really like it. I really enjoy it. It's a templating language, so you can do looping and including and partials and if statements. And you can also just put JavaScript in it if you want to do a little bit of logic. You don't have to like figure out like, oh, what's the like weird equivalent in this language? You just use JavaScript at the end of the day, which is sort of like React. So big fan of that. And I also write my emails in Jade. And then I take my emails from Jade and they get compiled into HTML. And then I also write them in these HTML blocks in something called Inky. So if you've ever tried to code an HTML5 or HTML email before, you'll know that it's just the worst thing in the world. So what Inky will do is you just like code like button tag or like a panel tag, and then it will convert it to like the hellish table nested tables for you, so you don't have to worry about it. So I code like a button tag in HTML. Inky will turn that into the equivalent table and call span and all that bullshit, which is really, really nice. And then you also, something with emails, you need your styles to be inline. You can't just put a style tag and expect it to work across all of them. So there's this thing called Juice, which will then take my HTML, take my CSS, and then apply inline styles to every single paragraph tag and button on the actual page. Finally, once that's all done, you send it to the user. I use a package called Node Mailer, which will connect to our SMTP server. And then I use a service called Postmark to actually send out those emails. I was using Amazon SES, had a bit of trouble with that. And I'm kind of glad it happened because the Postmark has a really nice interface for seeing like who received your emails, when emails were sent, how many people opened them, what links were clicked. It's nice to like, if someone says like, oh, I never got an email, and you can just go in there and take a look, and it did send. So it's not a problem on your end. It's a problem on their end. So I think that is it. It's a pretty cool little system. Really, this is where I cut my teeth in a lot of my Node stuff because I've been doing like Node and Express for about 5 years now, and I've been building my own little platform beast for about 3.5 years now, and learning a lot about it, and it's really fun. So I don't necessarily recommend it if somebody wants to, because obviously it takes a long time to build something like this. But if you're looking to learn, it's been a really nice stack for me. So hopefully that clears up a whole bunch of questions. I'm happy to answer any more in the comments. Also, hit subscribe if you're interested in more stuff like this. I'd love to hear you. Thanks. I'll see you later.